Hello my love, welcome to this video. Weird entrance today because I'm recording this for the second time, so you will have to put up with my weirdness, but hey, welcome to this video. My name is Nina. Today we are building the second build on our new island of Gnocchi, and very very excited to share this build with you because I had a lovely inspiration picture that I'm going to flop up in just a second, but this is the area that we're going to be working in today. And I think, shall we just get started? Let's flop our hard hats on, let's start doing stuff. I'm going to start by laying down some in-game pathing, and while I'm doing that I'm going to flop up the inspiration picture actually this time, because we are trying to stay as close to this picture as possible today, because usually I take light inspiration from certain things and then just turn it into my own thing, put a lot more detail in, because obviously in like actual streets there aren't like random barrels and stuff lying around and standing around and stuff like that, so I try to detail it up a bit more. But for this build I actually try to stay fairly close to the inspiration picture and also lay out all the buildings that we could see just a second ago when I had the picture up. So I'm really excited to share this one with you. It's very different to what we usually do on here, so I'm excited to see what y'all are gonna say, but I'm really proud of this one, so hopefully you like it. But yeah, anyway, we are starting out by lining some of the in-game pathing with these random blocks of terraforming. You will see what I do in a second, which is flopping in and turning them into actual buildings with the medieval building sides. We're also going to be using some of the storefronts and some, what are they called? The retro transportation stops. I'm going to keep referring to them as the RTSs because that's the longest fucking word in the book and I do not want to keep saying it. Thank you very much. Anywho, after I shoved Maddie out of the way, it was time to work on the bridge, because as we could also see in the inspiration picture, we had a lovely bridge in the middle, which was very... It was a bit of a struggle to create, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out. It kind of looks more like an elongated actual incline. So I do really like it though. And obviously this bridge is going to lead over a river. So we are going to keep the canal, which is the like dirt path, fairly open around the middle of this build. And we're going to flop in a couple of the puddle codes that y'all told me to use, because that actually makes quite a lot of sense to have some of the puddles here and there to make it look like it's an actual dried up river. Because if you haven't seen the first build, which was the entrance build of this island, this is a Venice inspired island, but we are going to imagine what the city of Venice would look like if it was to dry up. So that's what I kind of try to go for with this build too, obviously. And under the bridge there would be water, but obviously there is none now that it's dried up. So we're going to flop in all the puddle codes, which is a swampy path that I have used in the past. We're just going to be using the lighter one because it just looks a bit more like the inspiration picture. And I also want to, zhuzh it up a little bit, and it kind of looks like this brackish but still kind of like nice water. So I really like the one that I chose. It will be up on the website on Saturday, which is also when I'm going to be updating the code website with all the kid core codes that we are using on Chickpea on the Stream Island. So keep your eyes peeled if you are interested in any of the codes. The ones for this island are up though, apart from a couple new ones that I've added. But again, they will be up tomorrow by the time that you're seeing this. So fun times. But we are onto the buildings to the back here. And initially I went with this pink shade because I thought it would be quite nice to have something, kind of solid in color. You also see in the thingy thing in the inspiration picture, but it just felt a bit weird to have like a pink building there with all the other like more neutral colors. And I do want to keep this island fairly neutral, which like this terracotta kind of warmth to it, but not really that much other kind of colors in it apart from like greens, obviously, with like the grass and the bushes and flowers and stuff like that. So we're going to exchange that for the like brick, I think it's called the ivory version of the medieval building side. And I do actually like how they give off very completely two different vibes. If you turn them around, they just look like a flat wall, which I do really enjoy. So I did play with that a lot in this build. So it was just a lot of fun to experiment with that, because we are going to be layering up so many buildings to really stay true to the inspiration picture, because it looks like, you know, there are buildings behind that and you can kind of look through this little alley and, you know, see some balconies, see some buildings that are staggered behind each other. And I thought that would be a very nice thing for view. And this is the first time that I've ever done anything like this, like kind of like this staggered building kind of look that people do with like city builds and stuff, but I've never really done it. So it was a lot of fun to then make it Mediterranean too and not as structured. So it's kind of like higgledy-piggledy, if that's even the word. I think it is. Higgledy-piggledy, is that a word? I think it is.
Higgledy-piggledy.
Anywho, my love, I've waffled on for long enough. How are you today? I hope you are well. I hope you had a lovely week so far and that it isn't as hot for you as it is for me. Currently sitting here without my fan, praying that this recording is not going to be corrupted, because I use a different setting for my mic now. So please pray with me. I mean, if you're hearing this, it went well. So that's good though that I fixed it then. I'm praying. But I don't have my fan on currently because that's going to be audible in the new mic settings. Hopefully I'm not suffering for nothing. So wish me luck with that, please. Thank you very much. But I just hope that everyone's well, that you are, you know, maybe off to some holidays, because I know it's like the summer holidays for some of you lovelies who are still in school or uni. So I hope that you have some lovely plans now that, you know, maybe you can travel or you can just, you know, hang out with some friends. Both seems very lovely to me. And yeah, I'm never really up to date with holidays anymore. I can't keep up with them for some reason. It feels like the second I left uni, I was like, what even are holidays? I don't even know anymore. So you'll have to let me know if I'm lying currently and it isn't even any holidays for anyone, but I think it is. I think it is. Anywho, I've been waffling on for long enough. We have added this white building because I really like the code that I found for the simple panels. This is a code that I've used before and I really like how that looks. Now obviously you couldn't see any of the windows, so I'm now going to pull that forward slightly, where you just saw me like check the view and stuff. I'm going to pull that forward slightly so that you can see the windows actually a bit better. But it's still going to be hiding the lower windows because it looks a bit weird if we have the two lanterns and the two windows right underneath of each other. So I try to have the medieval building sides hide the lower row of those kind of design elements, I guess. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I also kind of like how the simple panels go quite well with the white storefronts, which I used to make it look like there's an actual roof and stuff, to have, you know, the sides kind of angled, which I do enjoy. I really like how you can just like mismatch those things, and it's a lot of fun to play with, but it still goes quite well together because we have so many neutrals. So I'm very glad that Nintendo gave it to us. So thank you so much, Nintendo. If you're listening, obviously you are, obviously. So fun times. But to the left here, obviously we're going to stay true to the picture. So I wanted a very tall building kind of lining the canal. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to attach this to anything just now, but as I was waffling through and like talking over the first voiceover that I had to throw straight into the bin, which was a lot of fun, I actually came up with a new idea, which you are going to be seeing probably next Friday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I think it's going to be a very cute build too. I just have a lot of fun to create these like smaller alleys and make it feel kind of like tucked in, and you have to like explore all those like narrow streets and stuff to make it feel very Mediterranean. At least that's what I think of when I think of like Italy and Spain. I think of those like narrow streets that just like smell like heat and also like this salty wind and stuff. It just, I don't know, it made me very happy to play with it, and I think it's gonna look quite good because I've never really tried to stay true to like something that's realistic. Like I always try to give it like either a more colorful touch or my own touch, and I really want to try and make this as realistic as possible. So in this build we're also not going to be using as many like decorative little knickknacks and items and decorations here and there. You know, obviously if you're looking at an actual street, I think I've said it before, it might have also been in the previous recording, I can't remember, everything's faded into one big massive blob of me being annoyed. But here we are. And we're loving it, right? Yes, we are indeed, my love. Yeah. Don't ask. I thought it would be nice to don't clutter the streets as much. Because that obviously wouldn't be really realistic. There aren't like random barrels and like chairs and stuff in actual streets. And then I had the pleasure of rejigging all the buildings that I had already placed because I forgot to put some brick path underneath, you know? Always fun times to do that. I'm actually going to do that again later on. I did cut it out though, I think, because I realized that I put the brick path where the canal was supposed to be, and obviously I wanted the brick path to line the imaginary canal. Now, I did actually see some of your guys' comments that you suggested that we would have some cliffs to the side of the canal, and then we would put everything on top of that so that it looks like it's actual, you know, an actual canal that's just dried up. But that would take a lot of the options from me, you know, creating some buildings, because we are going to go up to the second level to decorate on top of. Now, if we had everything risen up to the first level, that wouldn't give us the option to do that because you can only decorate on top of the second cliff. You can terraform up a third tier cliff, but you can't decorate it. So I didn't really like the idea of that, sadly enough. I wish we could do that. I wish we could also like dig kind of into the basement area, like dig down from the ground level, but sadly we can't. So we will just imagine that it's like going down slightly where the canal once was. So I hope that you'll understand that. But thank you so much though for the suggestions. Some of you wrote me the longest messages and I love you so much for that. I also got like inspiration pictures from y'all. So we're definitely going to see a lot of your pictures and all your ideas come to life, I think, because I love to make this like kind of like a community project. If we're not going to stream it, I still want to, you know, implement some of your guys' ideas, and I'm just having so much fun with it. And yeah, also please correct me whenever I'm labeling something as very Mediterranean or something like that, and you are from, you know, some of those countries. Please correct me if I ever label something that isn't correct as Mediterranean. So please correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I don't live there. I live in Germany, which is very much not Mediterranean. I'm just trying to go off of pictures that I see on Pinterest and stuff, and obviously there's not going to be, you know, perfectly realistic because this is Animal Crossing, but we're trying to do our best now, aren't we? Yes, we are indeed. Now it is time to put in the swampy path, which is this beautiful like turquoise color. And I really, really like how it looks. I think it is supposed to go on top of like August grass because it's a bit more darker, a bit more like bluish in the hue that it comes in. But I do really like how it looks on top of the kind of brownish dirt path because it's like such a nice contrast, and it does actually remind me of like remainders of the water that was once running, you know, underneath the bridge and in the canal. And I also tried to stay like fairly realistic and put the water where there would potentially be a bit more shadow, so around the bridge, around the houses, and towards the middle of the canal I didn't put any water because there would probably rarely be any shadow. So any biologists or physics people, please do not correct me, because I know that I'm very wrong with that probably, and none of the stuff that I just did makes any sense, but it makes sense in my head, so that's the storyline that we're gonna go for. Thank you very much, my lovely. But yeah, anywho, I'm also gonna, I did keep in a lot of me fidgeting with the buildings and stuff and showing how I, you know, panned up and check the view and stuff, and then I'm probably going to try and highlight those certain areas that then I am then about to fill in with buildings. You'll see it as you know, watch this video what I mean by that, but just so that you can kind of get an idea of how I, you know, came up with the ideas that I had and how all of this came alive, because it was a lot of, you know, shuffling around and like adding stuff here and there, and it was a very organic process, which I do enjoy a lot, and I think it did help to make this feel a bit more organic and not as like straight. So we have like a lot of like different depths and heights and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun to play with, and I'm really, really happy with how it turned out because I've never ever done anything like this. And I think I'm going to do a lot more of this because it's just so much fun to layer all these buildings together and try to create a city and stuff like that, especially now that we have all those like building items. And I completely forgot about the simple panels in like on my last island, so I'm definitely going to try and bring them back because I just think they work perfectly and they are a good addition to a mix in, especially with those perspective builds, because you can't see that they are just like simple panels, like very thin kind of pieces of, I don't know, wall or whatever they are supposed to be, panel, I guess. So I'm just really, really happy with how this turned out, and it's a lot of fun to play around with. So 10 out of 10 do recommend if you'd like to try something like this. But we're just going to add in a couple more buildings to the right here. And I think then we are on to decorating. Yes, we are indeed. Nice. Because I did, however, sprinkle in a couple details that you didn't see in the inspiration picture because it just felt a bit bare and you can't really see what is behind the bridge. And there aren't really that many items that you see throughout this photo that I showed earlier. Like smaller items, all you can really see is the bridge and the buildings. So I did sprinkle in a couple things that I thought could maybe make sense. Maybe this, someone left a chair there, some trash and stuff like that, some older ruined pillars. They don't make any sense, but I thought they added some height and made it feel a bit more complete, and also blocked off that weird courtyard thingy that we had going on in front of the houses behind the bridge. And then in front here, I also just layered up some barrels. I'm just gonna, you know, try to zhuzh it around. And I know that the pirate barrels don't really go that well with the color scheme that we have going on because they are a bit more green and they, you know, look like this faded kind of mossy, greeny, weird color. But I do like how it looks. I don't really mind that it doesn't fit the color scheme as much because it just, I don't know, it just looks like the sun, you know, bleached them a little bit and some of the like salty winds kind of chipped away some pieces of wood here and there. And especially if mixed in with the normal barrels, I think it's kind of nice, and it again adds more depth. Favorite word of the day, smash in. We are onto the canal now. I added in a yacht and we are going to add in a ton of the mossy path now that I've also done in the entrance area, because I just think it kind of looks like these like sea lilies and roses. I'm not really sure if that's the correct term, but that's what we call them, like those pond lilies that are kind of like swimming and floating on top of the pond, you know, those big leaves with like the flowers and stuff. So really, really like that. And I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of that. If you see like brackish, older looking green water, that's usually what you see, like just greenery. And maybe since this is like basically the ground of that, like the lowest thingy, the bottom of the canal, it does make sense that there would be like seagrass and stuff. So I do really like how the mossy path looks, especially because it brings in a bit more greenery and we don't really use that many plants, at least not as many as I would usually use. I would usually not build a single thing without adding a tree. We are going to use one tree in this build that we're not really even going to be able to see that well, but I just really like how it adds in a bit more of that natural vibe, that overgrown bits to add to this over-abandoned stuff and things and, you know, fun. So I do really like how it looks, and it also obviously ties in with the little grassy bits that pop out of the brick path. So I really like how the colors go together. I got really, really lucky with the code selections that I have on this island. And over to the left, notice that there wasn't any detail, so I, you know, added that little bit of pathing there to add some barrels, and I just added in that tree. And then I'm just onto, you know, adding a couple more finishing touches here and there. I also really liked the paper, what is it called, newspaper code that I found. So I tried to kick off some of the brick path and replace it with the actual newspaper code, which I really, really enjoy for some reason. I know that you can technically see some of the dirt in-game pathing poke through, but I don't really mind that much. I think it does still look okay. And I also just, you know, zhuzhed up some of the pathing as I went, added in some more rope and some more little bits and bobs here and there, and then we are about to be done. It is about to thunder too, so it's good that I'm done recording because it's going to be loud in a second. Loud. Jesus Christ, I'm so weird today. You will have to apologize. I'm very sorry. You will have to apologize. You will have to excuse me. I have to apologize. Anywho, I hope that you enjoyed this video, my love. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You can also turn on post notifications so that you know whenever I go live or post a new video. And if not, I will see you for the next live stream on Tuesday or for the next video on Friday. So take care of yourself, my lovelies. I'm going to leave you now with a montage of the finished product. Stay hydrated in this heat and feel hugged. Bye-bye.